Bethany Manctalo here. Welcome to our Millwall fan show with some new voices, but the same focus. Just everything Millwall. Enjoy!
Welcome to the 2024-25 series of the No One Likes Us Talking, our Millwall fan show. I'm your host, Gary Staff, and with me I have the No One Likes Us Talking team of Ted Robinson, Myles Thornton and Dave Hart.
Not everybody likes them, but they don't care.
Evening, Ted.
Good evening, Gal. How are we?
You're all good, all good. Evening, Myles.
Evening, Gary. Evening, everyone. You all right?
Very
Evening,
good.
Myles.
Evening, Dave.
Evening, Gary. Evening, rest of you.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. So, welcome back to another episode. Breaking news, international call-ups for George Saville, Aidemo Maku, Romain Eze, Daniel Kelly and Mihail Ivanovic for Serbia. But after the club doctor advised them of a metatarsal injury, Eze has now travelled back to London. So, with that in mind, welcome everyone. Ted, I'll start with you. Saturday against Wednesday was the best home performance for a long time. Do you agree?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it's always good to win 3-0 against any team. There's always got to be a decent performance in it. I mean, what stood out for me and probably everybody else, I would say, is the difference that it makes to a side when you've got a 6'2" centre forward who's prepared to run the channels and chase down centre halves, win headers against centre halves, and just cause a little bit of havoc up there. It just made us look more like a full team, a whole team, if you know what I mean. There were some other good individual performances. It won't go unnoticed to anyone night, but the fact we had another clean sheet and, Tanganga continues to do his job quietly but effectively and quite brilliantly. It was just more of an all-round performance. And the one that I'm getting more and more excited with every game is Romain Eze. He's growing and maturing as a footballer he's beginning to not look like a youngster who's just been thrown in there now to me. He's beginning to look like a player that belongs. And for a 19-year-old like that, it's great to see for us. And let's hope there's one or two more coming through like that. But,
two questions off of what you just said there, Ted.
Yeah.
Do you think, hopefully, we've already got something down for the kid from Middlesbrough? And secondly, Romain Eze, do you think he's now turning into that type of player like Morgan Gibbs-White or someone like that who's stepped up every season and just got better and better?
Oh, I mean, he's going from being what looked like a youngster, a bit naive, with a bit to learn, to a mature player who understands the position he's playing in, although I'm not still convinced that that's really his best position. Sometime in the not too distant future, I wouldn't mind seeing him playing where Honeyman plays, because I think he's got an exceptional eye for a pass, apart from anything else, apart from the skills. But what I've been really impressed with him, Gal, since the start of the season, he's learned the defensive side of it.
Yeah.
He doesn't, he's been chasing back and making sure he's a player in front of Ryan Leonard that they have to go round before they get to Ryan Leonard. So all that's been very impressive to me. I hope, because I've always thought that Coburn was I've been saying it for a while, the type of player that we need. And he's a young lad, and he does remind me a little bit of Steve Morrison in the way that he plays. I'm not saying he's let's hope he goes on to be as successful as Steve Morrison. But I would really welcome us signing him. I'd love to have him now. If it's at the end of the season, great. I think the fact that perhaps we haven't got him at the moment says that Middlesbrough quite rate him as well. That's the only thing. He has a really good season. Middlesbrough might want him back. But look, he looked effective. He looked good. He ran his socks off. He seemed to fit into the team brilliantly. He seems to have a little bit of an understanding with Watmore, which is great. I don't know what he's had over the summer, Watmore. I put it down to the fact he was on my table at the end of season 2 last year. That he's all of a sudden found the back of the net. But no, listen, all in all, I've already felt this season that we've looked quite good in games, and I echo what Neil Harris said, really.
Agreed.
Quite good games, but not had the points that our performances perhaps deserved. This performance got exactly what it deserved, which was a clinical 3-0 victory.
Agreed. Myles, you've been up in the press box recently. What was everyone's impressions of the performance on Saturday? And did you hear any of the Yorkshire friends bemoaning them?
Well, in terms of that, I just want to say what Ted Blair was saying about Lionesses. I really agree with. Sort of cracked up there where I was saying about what he was talking about Steve Morrison. I believe he was talking about Josh Coburn, was you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was something that was reiterated by Neil Harris in his press conference. He actually said the words, "I've played with Steve Morrison, I've played with Richard Sadlier. He's a mix of both." And I think, yeah, that's spot on. I've never seen Richard Sadlier, but
I'll tell you, Myles,
Sadlier was amazing.
Yeah, I've never seen him, but if for Neil Harris to come out after his debut and say that, then you're onto something there, Ted. But in terms of around me in the game, yeah, it was a really good game for Millwall. And around me, I didn't hear any Sheffield Wednesday reporters or anything really talking about it, but I'm sure they were in their respective areas. But no, it's a really good game, and it's really good to see Millwall playing like that, and really good to. I don't think I've been in the press box for a big win, so yeah, that's got that one off the cards.
Dave, we've talked about the new boys already, but let's speak maybe about Aziz and maybe a few of the others. Do you think they're going to settle in? And obviously the new kid, Kelly, as well. He's young, but there's a big future for a lot of these kids, I believe.
Yeah, well, Ted and Myles, what they said is absolutely correct. With the new boys we've brought in, Coburn, we've already spoke about. He looks really good, and I think he's going to be a great prospect. Kelly was a bit quiet, in my view, on the ball. Didn't really seem as though he was doing a lot, but he obviously was. So you've still got all the other players. All the first game, it's hard to actually sum up in just one performance how they're going to settle in. But with fingers crossed, I think that the potential is there for a really good squad and performances and lots of goals and points in the games coming up. So let's see how we look at closer to Christmas.
Indeed. Right.
Can I also say, Gary, after the Luton Leyton Orient game, Harris said that he was disappointed, etc. And he said that you will see a reaction on Saturday. And we did, didn't we?
Definitely.
He came into his Sheffield Wednesday press conference smiling away, and I thought, yeah, that's the Harris press conference I want to be in.
Yeah, it makes you think though as well, doesn't it? Did he even care about the Leyton Orient game?
Well,
I think he cared, Gal, but because it hurt him. To see a Millwall team play like that will hurt Neil Harris. I mean,
you can tell that on Tuesday as well.
Yeah, that face of his, Myles, is I told you so face, because there wasn't any way that Millwall wasn't going to go out and battle like they did the other day. Just a quick mention of the two boys in midfield that I thought were outstanding as well. George Saville and Casper Denori had one of his best names, I think. And I'll echo what Dave said. I think we've got the prospects of a really good squad here, because apart from the other new boys, you say, we've still got the likes of Alan Mayer in the background, who's been injured, to come back, who could well find his way into the team, because this boy's had a lot of good things said about him, and he hasn't really had a chance at Millwall yet. So I'm still hopeful for him coming back, that we might see something there. So with the new and young blood coming into the squad, all bodes well for this season, I think.
Can't disagree with that. I just want to make one point. I've seen a video. I think it's one of the videos that the cameraman, can't think of his name off the top of my head, records down by the touchline from behind the goal. And that first goal, the one touch passing, for when it goes through to Watmore to pass to Costa Coburn, is just beautiful to watch. It was just like the Sheffield Wednesday players were just standing there looking at it. They didn't even know where the ball was going. And it was just lovely to watch. It was just really nice to see Millwall playing with that style. And
if you watch that, Gal, you see Coburn's movement as well, the way he lost his player. He went to the front, dragged the bloke to the front, then moved round the back of him and come in on the blind side of him. That's great centre-forward play. Great.
Which makes me wonder, is it a case of Middlesbrough just, we ain't going to play him this year, but we get him out, get him this experience, and we're nicking for the next season or so, which is worrying sometimes. But hey, hope it's not another, can't think of his name, the one who went up to Newcastle.
Darren Huckabee.
That's him, yeah. Darren Huckabee. I hope it's not another one of those. But fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Right, well, on that, we'll take a break there and hear about our sponsors, G&M Motors.
Hi, this is Jess Tuffield from G&M Motors. Operating from a modern and purpose-built facility in Milton Road, Gravesend, G&M Motors offers a complete range of new Honda cars and services. As well as new Hondas, we have an extensive range of used cars, including ex-Motability cars from a variety of manufacturers. Specialising in new Honda cars, G&M Motors has been retailing quality new and used vehicles to the people of Kent and South East London for over 4 decades. We have been a Honda dealership since 1972 and are the country's longest serving supplier of this renowned marque. Conveniently sited just 2 miles from the A2, 10 miles from the M25 and Dartford Crossing, visitors to our showroom are assured a warm welcome from our experienced and friendly staff. Our facilities include an on-site workshop capable of providing full vehicle servicing and repairs, as well as an extensive parts department offering genuine Honda parts and accessories. The expertise of our skilled mechanics is not limited to just Hondas, but extends to most makes and models of motor vehicles. Whatever your motoring needs, visit us at G&M Motors today. The newly extended hours of our G&M headquarters means that you can contact us from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. on weekdays and 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. on Saturdays. To contact us, call us today on 01474 365 026.
Thank you, Jess. Debbie Julian's here. Don't forget to call Jess on 01474 365 026. G&M Motors have been dear friends of the Julians family for over 4 decades now, from my dad Lenny to me, Debbie, Lions together.
I'm your host, Gary Staff, and with me I have the No One Likes Us Talking team of Ted Robinson, Myles Thornton and Dave Hart. Many thanks to our sponsor, G&M Motors, who, why not check out the Hondas and see what else they have on site at their site in Gravesend. Our guest this weekend is a big friend of the show, and also a legend with over 340 appearances with 17 goals from right back. He then went on to play for Orient, Bromley, where once he hung up his boots, he joined the coaching staff, and is now currently the first team coach. Also, hello to Alan.
Evening, guys.
Evening, Alan.
Evening, Al.
Evening, Al. I'm going to stop it there because we...
Okay.
Cool. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm your host, Gary Staff, and with me, I have the No One Likes a Talking team of Ted Robinson, Myles Thornton, and Dave Hart. Many thanks to our sponsor, G&M Motors. Why not check the Hondas out and see what else they have on their Gravesend site? Our guest this weekend is a big friend of the show and also a legend with over 389 appearances with 23 goals from right back. He went on to play for Orient and Bromley, where once he hung up his boots, he joined the coaching staff and is now currently the assistant manager at Bromley. Welcome, Alan, and welcome to the show.
Evening, guys. How are we all?
Evening, Al.
Hello, Alan.
Evening, Alan.
Evening. Before you chat to the team, and I'm sure you've said this 100 times on this podcast, Alan, how did it all come about and how did you get to be a Millwall first team player?
Me? Oh, God, this is going back. I was 42 in last month, so we're going back. I joined Millwall at the age of 10, so it was on my 10th birthday. I think I had my first ever Millwall training session. So that's going back nearly 32 years. So My dad said to me, I think it was a raining Monday night, you got a trial at Millwall, do you fancy it? I'm like, yeah, why not? So I went there and trained at the age of 10. Street kid, council estate, didn't know what I was going into, didn't know how good I was. And then obviously 23 years later, that was my last day at Millwall, so I never thought I'd be there that long.
That's superb. I've looked at comparisons to my son, who's 8 at the moment, and he's currently in the Advanced Academy at Reading, and it's just hoping and following someone like yourself would be amazing. Even just to get to non-league level would be amazing for me, but to go as far as you did, Al, would be amazing for me as well.
Any football, I mean, you play football at any level and you've achieved, because it's such a difficult industry to get into. And I mean, you have to respect anyone who's played one game or 400 games. So I wish him well.
Indeed. Ted, over to you. But you might want to change what the number of goals scored on the script, because Alan.
Well, before I say anything, talking of achievements, Al, I've got to congratulate you for your achievement as a coach with Bromley and getting Bromley into the Division 2. It was brilliant. One question I've been waiting to ask you: what was your feelings when Byron Webster was handing over that penalty? Already with his EFL sticker on his finger and whatever.
The script was written for him. Like I brought Webby in 3 years ago. He's been an amazing captain and a leader, and I need them Millwall sort of people around the club. And the day was, I mean, we won the FA Trophy I think 2 years ago, which was an amazing achievement for us. But to go up in the playoffs is, like we said at Millwall, is better than going up automatic. If you can guarantee going up in the playoffs, it's the best day ever. To do it at Wembley with penalties, and then your skipper, I mean, to take the 5th penalty, it's written in the stars. Was I confident? Probably not. Centre half taking penalties, but it was written for Webby. It was just amazing, and like you said, he knew he had the EFL armband on. He had the belief. Stepped up and slotted it, and I don't think for the next 3 days we just celebrated. It was amazing for the town to go into to get out of the toughest league in this country. The toughest league to get out of is the National League, because only 2 teams go up, and all the money's in the National League. So remarkable achievement, and really privileged to be now a League Two club.
Alan, quick question before Ted comes back in about the 2 teams up. Are they going to be changing that anytime soon? I know there's talk of it, but
no, we barked for years saying there should be 3 up, but the teams in League 2 vote, and you have to have a minimum of 14. So now we're in League 2. We'll probably be one of them teams that go, nah, leave it 2 up, 2 down.
I'll tell you a little funny conversation I had with that penalty. I was watching it with my son-in-law, and he went to me, "Who's that going to take it? He don't look like a penalty taker." I said, "It's Byron Webster, who used to be our centre half." We said, "Centre half, they never score." I said, "I'm telling you now, this boy's going to put it away." And I was so pleased for you and everyone connected to Bromley when it happened. And it couldn't happen with a nicer guy than Byron putting that away, I've got to be honest. Even though he does still owe me a beer, but that's another story. Let's get back to you, Al. You scored 23 goals, as you corrected us, from right back. Tell me, what one was your favourite one? It might not necessarily have been your best one, but what was the favourite one that you scored?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think. Look, I scored, like I said, I got goal of the season at Walsall, and everyone thinks that is probably technically the hardest one to have scored. But personally, the one we spoke about, the one with the when we played in the War Memorial shirt, we did it. Where's the place called? Is it? I can't remember the place. Headley Court, sorry. And the build up and meeting the soldiers who had lost limbs on duty. So the moment was special for me, because going out with that kit on, it was a one-off kit, it was a one-off day. I had my dad there, my auntie there, and it just meant in front of the soldiers and everyone who was there, they sort of give us a guard of honour when we should have given them a guard of honour. But I think that day was special, special to score, and I felt something that day different when I scored. So I'd say that was my favourite goal, probably not my best goal, but my favourite in terms of just the whole day. I thought was really well run, and and to do it in front of so many people, that special people that have served. I thought I was really proud that day.
Yeah, it was special, mate. It was special.
Over to you, Myles.
Alan, just before I get on to my question, I want to just say, ask you about Ben Thompson coming into Bromley. Massive, one of our own, isn't he, Ben Thompson? And he's back in South London playing for a South London club. Yeah,
been tracking Ben for a while. I've been tracking his career for a while, and Ben is, like I said, we've got Kamal Grant there, we've got Byron Webster, I've got Bezart Topolage, and like I said before, I need Mill produce a certain type of DNA in a player. That myself and the likes of Tony Craig, Robbo, Frampton, all them players that were brought through, it produces a certain type of DNA, and I need that DNA in the club. Webster's got it, and I just felt he become available. We spoke to Stevenage. Steve Evans left, obviously a new manager came in and he was available, but we were just trying to work out the finances. But he's come in the building. He was actually my boot boy at Millwall, Ben Thompson, so it's funny seeing him now and seeing him, but what a great lad, low maintenance, just he run through brick walls for you. I think we're lucky.
You still give him your boost, didn't you?
Yeah, give him a boost. He'll probably want a Christmas bonus as well, again. But no, he's a sort of lad that I want to bring in sort of players that have been at Millwall. I'm always looking at them and trying to get them in because they do bring a certain type of DNA in, which I want at Bromley Football Club.
Yeah, I saw that Ben Thompson was going to Bromley, and I thought, what a signing! Yeah. Alan, rumour has it that you've received the most red cards in Millwall history. Do you think it would have been more if you was playing today?
I think we'd be in double figures today if I was playing today, yeah. The refs ain't got any better, so probably would be double figures. Yeah, it is a record that, I mean, a lot of people think it's brilliant. But look, that's how I was. That's how I played. I played with passion. I played with aggression. I was a no-nonsense player, and that's what I was good at. And sometimes you get caught on one and the ref sends you off, but over 400 games, I don't feel like the ratio is too bad. I think I'd have 110 yellow cards. It's probably worse.
Yeah. Dave, over to you, mate.
Alan, now that Neil's sorted his squad for the first half of the season, how do you think the team will do on the lead up to Christmas?
Yeah, I think that the win on Saturday was important for Millwall. He needed recruitment. He needed to get players in. He's got to put them together. It's a tough league, the Championship. Millwall are still going through a transition where they might have to just, like, I know we all want immediate success, but the club sometimes might be going through that transition of Neil building his own squad. The chairman's still new in the club. So I think, look, for Millwall, it's about improving and building a squad that can compete. And it might not be this year. It might be players that he's bringing in that needs to sort of get together, find a way that he's happier playing, and grow and improve on that. And I think that's, for me, that's where Millwall are at currently at the moment.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, the question I wanted to ask, you played predominantly at right back, but if I remember rightly, I think the best game I see you play was when you played in midfield at Coventry, where I thought you was absolutely outstanding, and I thought to myself, yeah, this boy should stay there. He should stay there. He's got it. He's got everything he needs. Did you ever feel like that, or was you always a happy right back?
I enjoyed it in there. I enjoyed it because without the ball, I was a good player. I just used to rat about. I think Wisey put me in there before because he just wanted me. He just loved me tearing about, kicking people, and that was what I was good at. But I could make the box. I was a box to box, and I had the engine to do it. But for me, it was only ever been a hindrance on me because I didn't want to be a jack of all trades. I wanted to just be a master of one. And when Kenny came in, he just wanted me to be one position. And to focus on one position rather than being a sort of utility player, because it weren't good for your development. If you're playing right back one week and you're playing in midfield, you're not developing as a player. So I had to make that choice, and I love midfield because I love getting in the box, scoring goals, breaking things up. But it was just I had to sort of think long term and think, right, if I get my head down in one position, then I can grow that and be better at that position. And yeah, like I said, I didn't mind playing in there, but ultimately I went right back and then ended up my career playing centre half, which I enjoyed as well.
One last little thing about Bromley. How's Carmel doing down there, mate? He seems to have slotted back into where he was last year, and he appears to be doing well for you.
He's done all right. He's got some learning to do still, which is why he's there. And he'll make mistakes, which is normal. It's why he's at this level. He needs to make the mistakes. He's gone up a league, which is League 2 is a big jump from National League. I know we say teams like who've gone up before do okay, but they do okay with the money to do okay. Like Stockport, Wrexham can compete financially with League 1 and Champ clubs. So there is a jump in level, and that means a jump in what's around him. So he's adjusting to it, but he's got all the tools to be a top centre half. I've just got to put it together. He's got to make mistakes. That's what he's there for. Learn quickly, like we all have. And like I said, he's got a bright future ahead of him.
You got him all season now, haven't you? Is it?
We've got all season. Yeah, Millwall have always got a call back at Christmas, which is not normal for any player. There's a break clause either way at Christmas, but we feel like he needs a season with us in learning and developing him and helping him on his journey. So and he's at no better place to do that, I feel.
Apart from anything else, Byron needs his legs alongside him.
Byron needs his legs for sure. I would disagree with that.
Alan, just a quick one on Bromley. You had a really good start to the season. To be fair, notably just beating Cambridge in the Bristol Street Motors Trophy. But you're already on 6 points this season as well, beating Harrogate Town on the opening day away from home. The start to the season, then what's been how have you found that basically the start to the season in a new league like League 2?
Yeah, I feel I'd say the start will probably be 8 games in. We'll call it a start. It's been mixed. We had 2 good results. Went away to Bradford, and I mean I've not had some good times at Bradford. The last time I'd been to Bradford before last Saturday was when me and Webby played. We lost 4-1, and I think Beavers got sent off after 8 minutes, and I caused a 30-man brawl with Parkinson on the side. So I went back to Bradford on last Saturday, and believe it or not, I thought, right, I remember being here. We're saying to Webby. Webby got booed coming in. They remembered him. And then 8 minutes later, one of our lads gets sent off for an handball on the line. And that was always going to be a struggle. So. And then Saturday at home, I think again we thought we could have won. We scored after 2 minutes, and you know that when you score so early, you feel, oh God. Sometimes you think we've scored too early here because they get one 70th minute, and then they get a winner on the 89th minute or something. So look, we're learning the league. It's been a mixed start, 2 wins, 2 losses. But look, for Bromley Football Club, survival for us would be a good season. But we are improving, and we've got Colchester Saturday again. Bromley v Colchester, Bromley v Bradford, all these big clubs we're playing. We're just really enjoying the league and learning on the job as we go.
Good me, Alan, Dave. I've been a Millwall supporter for quite a few years. The early 60s, I can really remember, and the defences have always been, how can I say it, steelified. Hard, and you're playing them right back for us. Certainly fitted into that pattern. But what I liked seeing with you, Alan, was the way you dealt with these big name strikers from these clubs that come down. I think they're going to walk all over us. And have you got any particular big name player that you've, how can I say, put in your pocket?
There was I don't want to sort of like be too big-headed, but there was I had to sort of play against these players, and I knew that I used to do to Millwall way. I used to sort of get in their heads mentally first, because I had people like Danny Shitter and stuff. We used to mentally get in their heads before the game, during the game. I had Tarabat, Zaha, people like that who were top players, difficult to mark. But I just had to sort of work out a way where what would work for me, and I used to get in their heads, I used to just get an early booking or get an early tackle in and then just try and say to them, if you come near me again, you're going to get the same thing. And I used to just mentally just sort of throw them off their game a little bit. Defending was a strength of mine. Like you said, I was no nonsense and I'd never pull out of a tackle. The ball's there to be won and I'm 100% sure I'll always win it. And if I have to take the player and the ref and the manager in the one tackle, I'll do the whole lot.
Yeah, I'd love to hear that, Gareth. Alan, it's absolutely great.
Alan, we could obviously go on all night, but we need to say goodbye at this point, unfortunately. Thanks for joining us on your thoughts on Millwall and Bromley. Always a pleasure. I'm sure we get you back on a couple more times before the end of the season goes to see how you're getting on at Bromley and how Neil's getting on to see your thoughts on that as well. But love to your family out and take care. All the best.
Thanks, guys. Pleasure. Always good catching up, guys. Really appreciate it. And enjoy the weekend of our game. Enjoy the weekend.
Good to speak to you,
Al. All the best, Al.
Cheers, Al.
Thanks, Alan.
We will take a break there and listen to information about Fisher Athletic.
Hi, I'm Paul, a Millwall and Fisher FC supporter. There's always been strong links between our clubs, and as such, Fisher FC would like to remind Millwall season ticket holders and supporters club members that entry to watch Fisher is just a £5 if you show your card at the gate.
I'm your host, Gary Staff. With me, I don't know what likes a talking team of Ted Robinson, Myles Thornton and Dave Hart. If you're not travelling away with Millwall, why not get down to Fisher at some of the weekends and even Bermondsey Town, which I know our dear Myles is a very big part of these days. Now let's hear from Ellis Barr.
Hello, Ellis here, and I'm glad to be back talking about Millwall. I know many have watched my videos, so you will all know that I don't wear splints as much anymore. Thanks for your support along the way. It is now time to hear what all the Millwall teams are up to. Come on, Millwall!
Thanks, Ellis, as always. The first team, as we know, ain't got a game this weekend, but let's hear how our friends over at the Romans and the Lionesses got on with. Paul Loading was swanning around the Med as the Millwall Romans and the Millwall Pride played their first games of the season. Rob Barr is up first for the Millwall Romans and John Granger follows with the Millwall Pride.
Rob Barr from Millwall Romans here, just reporting on the first league game of the season, which was played on Sunday. We was lucky enough to wear the new Millwall kit, which also featured our brand new sponsor. The game itself went very well. We won the game 6-0 against East End Phoenix. It was a very tough opening to the game. They played really well for the first 20 minutes. They had a couple of new faces in their team. It caused us quite a few problems. Our goalkeeper made a couple of really good saves, which kept us in the game early on. We then started to find our football, and we scored a really good first opening goal, and we scored a second before the break, which put us in at 2-0 half-time. In the second half, we played much better football. We controlled most of the game, scoring 4 more goals. A couple of shout-outs that I'm going to give to our goalkeeper, Pete, who made a couple of really important saves, which kept us in the game early on. Noah, who played a game at right back. He's normally a forward, but he covered in right back, played very, very well. Roland, new signing, played very well. But man of the match for me for his work rate and scoring a goal was AJ Babu Davis.
It was a thrilling start to the season for Pride. We got a 3-3 draw away at Soho FC. They were relegated from the top division last season, so it's probably the hardest opener we could have had. But the team put in a really fantastic effort in hot weather to fight out a draw. We went 1-0 up and also 2-1 up, but they managed to peg us back both times, and then they went 3-2 up before we got an equaliser in the last 5. So a game that really swung both ways. Our man of the match performance was from Yosu, who scored a hat-trick, and he also hit the post and really should have had a penalty. But the referee pulled it back for a free kick outside the box quite controversially. Overall, I think everyone put in a really good performance. It was really promising for the season ahead. We're thinking maybe we might be able to push for promotion. It's also our first chance to model our new home kit, sponsored by Roman's PR agency. Personally, I love the collared shirts for the home kit this year. We're hoping they bring us some luck for the season ahead.
True great results there for the Romans and Pride. Will we see more silverware heading back again this season. Now, Jeff Burnige updates us on the Millwall Lionesses.
It's been a difficult start to the season for the Lionesses, with the departure of co-manager Adam Rowland and a reduced playing squad at this stage of the season. Nevertheless, their 3-1 defeat at Barking on Sunday was not a fair reflection of the game. The girls got frustrated at creating but missing chance after chance, and only Elise Jennings found a finish for the team. She is a former Millwall Academy player who has returned to the club from National League Billericay Town. Laura Bunton scored a hat-trick for Barking, 2 of them coming from simple long balls over the top of our defence. This Sunday, they faced Dartford at Princes Park with a 2 p.m. kick-off, and the game is scheduled to be played on the stadium pitch, I imagine subject to weather conditions.
Thanks, Jeff, and we'll take a break there to listen to Harvey Brown.
Hi, Harvey Brown here. I am proud of the Lions Food Hub, which is jointly owned by Kelly and Ellen Webster, and they have been supporting families within our community for over 2 years on Millwall match days. If you would like to donate to them, they have a match day donation hub by the SE16 bar at Colblow Lane, end of the ground, where they accept any food or money and toiletry donations. If you can help, any donations will be received with thanks.
I'm your host, Gary Staff, and with me I have the No One Likes Us Talking team of Ted Robinson, Myles Thornton and Dave Hart. Your donations will make a significant difference if you can support the Lions Food Hub. Weekday donations can be made at the Lions Centre. Right, our second guest is well remembered for his co-commentary alongside Deano Standing and commented on some great Millwall memories, including the Mother's Day massacre. We'd all remember that game. After hanging up his microphone, he got the job behind the scenes as the kitman for the Lions first team, which he now does alongside his son. Let's say a big hello to Adrian Wisson.
Good evening, Adrian.
Good evening.
Evening, Adrian. Hi, mate.
Evening.
Hi, Adrian.
Adrian, before I hand you over to these 3, you've been in and around the den for quite some time now. How did it all come about, and how did you first get to be working alongside Deano and then in the kit room?
Basically, I've always been a bit of a stats man, and I've always been interested in the youths and the players behind, the ones who are pushing to get into the first team. So I was a postman back in the day, and I wrote to Deano and said there wasn't enough in the programme about the under-21s or the reserves as they were in those days. So he, because I was a postman, in those days, postmen had their afternoons free. So he invited me to come along, learn how to write reports. He would edit them a little bit for me. And from there, it really blossomed, really, for me anyway. Second season at the new stadium, he invited me to come and be a co-commentator with him in those days, it was a club call.
Of course. Blimey.
That's how I started, really.
Yeah, I remember listening to you on the phone a few times. Excellent. Ted, over to you first then, mate.
Hi, Adrian. Ted here.
Evening.
All right, mate. There's Myles. As Gary mentioned earlier, you commentated on the 2003-04 season. What a season that was, by the way. And obviously, the West Ham game, we all know that is called the Mother's Day Massacre, but it was West Ham that we played, and the FA Cup. But what would you say would be, out of them wonderful memories, what would be your highlight?
I remember the one that does stand out for me more than the Sunderland semi-final would have been the game at Tranmere when we won to get into the semi-finals. That just sticks with me a lot that night. I think it was the actual belief that we could possibly have an opportunity to get to the final, even though we still had another game to go. So that stands out, and just this promotion season, really, with Mark McGee commentating, we started doing a phone-in after games that season and being more involved with the fans. They used to, got the phone calls from about. So there were some great games that season as well.
I think that Tranmere game, Adrian, I think the reason you speak like, because I know what you mean, I think we all thought we'd blown it by drawing at home, and it would have been so typical of Millwall getting to the quarter-final and against Tranmere at home, and we drew, and now we have to go all the way up to Tranmere. We're going to go up there and lose 1-0, and I think that's why it felt so good.
Didn't Muscat miss a penalty as well? Sorry to jump in there. Didn't Muscat miss a penalty in the home leg as well, didn't he?
Yeah,
Hackenberg saved the penalty. Yeah, he
did. You're right. Yeah, I think you're definitely right. We probably felt that we threw it away, and as I say, that night it was like, we're going up here. It's little old Millwall. We're not going to get anywhere near the semi-final, let alone the final. And it was just an amazing night and everything that went with it. And so, like, the semi-final was such a big day. So, when players turn around and say sometimes the day passes them by. Yeah, so as I say, I think the semi-final just sort of like passed me by because it was just such a tremendous day. But just the Tranmere game is the one that sticks in my mind, and they're the reasons why I picked that one out, I suppose.
And there was also quite a tremendous goal from Neil Harris in that game, I think we can all remember as well.
Yes, of course, Super Neil. What more can you say about him as a player? I mean, he's just an absolute legend for our football club, and he's trying to weave his magic with a new set of players for this season, isn't he?
Indeed. Myles, what have you got for Adrian?
Yeah, Adrian, Myles here. Neil, talking of Neil Harris, he performed brilliantly at the end of last season as the head coach. A slow start this season, but got the first win against Sheffield Wednesday. How do you see our season going?
Oh, how do I see the season going? That's a good one. I mean, it's still early days. The Championship is probably the most exciting league to watch because, you couldn't pick who's going to beat who from one weekend to the next. Little teams beat the bigger teams and vice versa. Obviously, I hope it goes well. It's going to take a little bit of time for all the newer lads to settle in, but I think we should have more points on the board than what we already had. I mean, we were very unfortunate not to get one, if not all three, against Watford. Bristol City, the fight back there, you could say another point maybe, or all three. And as Hull wasn't the greatest game in the world, but we could have nicked that. So, look, if we're in that top 10 with 10 games to go, then, I don't think there's any particular team possibly going to run away with it this year. I think it's going to be a bit tighter. So if we're in that top 10 with 10, 12 games to go, there's every chance of us nicking in there, I think.
No, I can't disagree with that at all. Dave, over to you, mate.
Evening, Adrian. It's Dave here.
Evening.
I can remember working with you and Deano down at Abbey Wood talking about Millwall. That was a long time ago. Anyway, I'd like to ask you about the first team kit now. We just had the release for the kits for the 24-25 season, but when does the actual process begin for the next season's kit, and what is actually involved in doing that?
Right, so first and foremost, my son now is in total charge of the kit department. So I'm back part-time. I help out at the training ground and on match days. But the process will probably start in the next week or so when...
blimey, that early?
Yeah, as early as that, yeah. In the next week or so, Araya will send over some designs for next season's training wear for staff and players, and they will possibly come up with some ideas for kit. If the club have got their own ideas, obviously. So it'll be a bit of swaying backwards and forwards. And so that's how it starts, really. And, so we're just in the start of September. I would say by the end of October, beginning of November at the latest, they'll probably all be in place for what we're looking like and training like next season.
Oh, wow. That's a long process.
They usually start the process of putting everything together by Christmas so that we have it at the end of May the training. Obviously, I can't speak for the shop side of things, but so we've got it for getting ready and opening boxes at the end of May, beginning of June for next year.
The big question, Adrian, is who has the final say?
Well, the board always has the final say.
Do the players have any say?
The board will always have the final say.
What about the players? Do they get any say in it? Or do they speak to the players?
No, not really. I mean, the good thing that now Jack is in charge of the kit department, he gets a bit of a say. And him being somewhat younger than me, he knows what players like to wear and what they don't like to wear, i.e. as in sort of like maybe some designs and, they don't. I mean, you look at some of these European Champions League teams like Chelsea and Man United when they wear the brightest stuff you've ever seen, but they only wear it for Champions League games, don't they? But no, usually my son will have a bit of input. Obviously, he's around the players, he's nearer their ages, and he will get an idea of the style of stuff that they would like. But pretty much at the end of the day, as I say, most of it comes down to the board. We hope to have a bit more of it. I mean, in the last few years, we've not really had much say in what it is we get shown it once it's been decided. But there's a bit of luck moving forward. Jack will have a bit more of a helping hand on even some colours for training wear and stuff.
One last quick question, Gary, to Adrian. What about the boots? What all these coloured boots? Can't we just tell them to pull them back?
That's all a personal player thing. Some players will have contracts with boot companies.
Right.
Some will buy them just like anybody playing Sunday League football. They will buy their own boots. I think players like Jaffet, Tanganga and a couple of others like that, they will have boot contracts with possibly Adidas. I think Idamos with Puma and maybe a few of the other boys. But for the vast majority, purchase their own boots, and the colours you see them wearing are probably their choice.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But one quick question for me before I ask my final question, Adrian, Gary again. How did that actually come about? Because I know you obviously, I think Deano left and you obviously left at the same time, but was you then offered the job? And then whatever happened to Deano? I've not heard of.
Deano lasted a lot longer after me. Deano continued on in the media department. I think he sort of like saw the incoming of Billy Taylor, who took over the media side. Because obviously we can see what the media side's like now. It's, like there was Deano Standing, there was me, there was Brian Tonks, Lucy Pepper, and maybe four of us. We used to travel up and down the country. Now there's about 7 or 8 in the media team. Some do Twitter, some do the online. So anyway, Deano continued on. Basically, Roy Putt, who was kitman before me, he needed to have an operation just prior to the changeover of board when Nigel Spatman. So Nigel Spatman was my first manager. I was asked if I could go to Iceland because Roy Putt, the kitman before me, had to have this operation, as I say. And I did the job for that summer, completely blind, but obviously I did a reasonable job. And then I continued on from there. And this season is my 18th season.
Wow.
Basically, I mean, it's one of the greatest jobs in the world when things are going well. And it's not the greatest job in the world like all fans. You feel the pain, you feel it, you're closer to it. So you feel it even more when we lose. But it's a great job. I missed, just before COVID, I had to pack up because I needed a transplant, as you're probably aware, and I was not working. And I didn't think that I was ever going to come back to it, but I missed it, came back part-time, still do part-time now, and totally love being around the fellas, and Neil being back, and Dave Livermore and Adam Barrett and the backroom staff are just great people to work with and work for.
Excellent. And then on a slightly sadder note, but we just wanted to ask you, Ted Wilding's funeral, which I know a few people over the years turned up to pay their respects. I understand you attended as well. How did it? Yeah. How do you remember Ted, and what was Ted's send-off like?
First and foremost, his send-off was amazing. I mean, there was a huge amount of people there. I'm sure there would have been more if there could have been. It was a lovely, lovely service, which was presented. His daughter said some absolutely lovely words, a lot of information about Ted that although you think you know someone, obviously his early life and the relationship he had with his colleagues, he was in the Royal Mail like myself. But it was a lovely, lovely send-off. Jess, one of the club secretaries, she said some lovely words. And it was just as funerals go, you think to yourself, well, how can they be lovely? But it really was. Yeah. And we really will miss Ted. I mean, he came to the training ground whenever there was 21 games on. Always used to get team sheets printed off, come in the laundry, especially in the winter when it was really cold, spend half time in the laundry, and we used to chat about all sorts before going back out. So it's certainly a character, a person at Millwall who will be sadly missed. And I saw one of the directors the other day, in the last home game, and I said, it wouldn't be such a major thing if the club didn't name a turnstile after him, because he was the turnstile manager at the old Den, collecting all the money up, all of the turnstiles, and he was the turnstile manager at the new Den. And I think a lovely touch would be like a Ted Wilding turnstile for one of the stands, so that his name lives on. Matty Sarkic has got a little tree, and then John Berylson Way. People who have put so much into our football club over the years deserve to be remembered, and Ted certainly would be.
Adrian, beautiful words, absolutely beautiful words. Thank you very much. And Ted would be happy to hear them, I'm sure. Adrian, thank you for coming on the show. I know it took a while for us to get this organised, and thank you for your patience while we did it. And I could have asked you a lot more questions about that season as well. But anyway, we look forward to hearing from you not too distant future. There's no prediction game this week, obviously, because we've got no game at the weekend. But
just as well, because I've been terrible this season.
Welcome to the gang.
Oh dear. And yes, thank you, Adrian, and all the best to you and your family. And we'll get you on before the end of the season to see how things have gone.
Thank you. Anytime. Cheers.
All the best, Adrian.
Cheers.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Adrian.
Thanks, mate.
We'll take a break there to listen to Bethany.
Hi, it's Bethany Manctolo. Why not come and join me as another Millwall supporting woman and become part of the Millwall No One Likes Us Talking team? You can be a panellist or a host. You could even do match reporting on the radio for the first team, Millwall Lionesses, or community matters. The team will help you to broadcast effectively. Come and join us by emailing me at nolutalkin@gmail.com. I'll say that again. Email me on nolutalkin@gmail.com.
I'm your host, Gary Staff, and with me are the No One Likes a Talking team of Ted Robinson, Myles Thornton and Dave Hart. If you want to come on board, just get in touch with the Millwall No One Likes a Talking team. We're looking forward to our next game, but in the meantime, here are a few matters of interest for Millwall fans and those interested in football.
Our team member tonight, Myles Thornton, is completing 60 miles for the MPS Society in September. How are you doing that, Myles? Are you running? Are you walking? Are you getting an helicopter? Are you going by train? I mean, it just says you're going to complete 60 miles. What are you doing, mate?
Oh, how am I doing it? I don't have a clue. Well, I've done about 11. I'm doing it running and walking. A mixture of both.
Brilliant. This charity supports his best mate and friend of our show, Harvey Brown, and many others with rare conditions. Myles would appreciate it if you could donate, and so would the MPS Society, Harvey, his family, and all others affected families. Please go to Just Giving and search for Myles Thornton. I'll spell that out, MYLESTHORNTON. And you can donate no matter how little or more.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Next week, I'll be hosting X-Line, Phil Coleman, Henry Morgan and Stan Godwin. Be sure to tune in for more gossip and discussion before the Lions face Luton Town at the Den on Saturday the 14th at 12:30.
The Lionesses this Sunday take on the might of Dartford FC at Prince's Park with a 2 p.m. kick-off. Be sure to get down there to get your fix of football this weekend.
Don't forget, you'll be able to listen to the No One Likes Us Talking team bring reports from our games both home and away for the Lions, Lionesses, Romans and Pride, and also updates on Millwall community matters on Maritime Radio, broadcasting on 96.5 FM. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook and X, formerly Twitter, YouTube, Tumblr, Instagram and all popular podcast sites. Thanks, Ted.
Cheers, Gary.
Thanks, Myles.
Cheers, Gary. Good night, everyone.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, thanks to you, Gary, and the rest of the team.
Cool. Finally, let's not forget to keep it safe on the streets out there. Good night.
Our Millwall Fan Show is sponsored by G&M Motors of Gravesend, Honda dealers and much more. Thank you.